teaches school children to fold paper cranes, a Japanese symbol of hope made in memory of the children She organizes and inspires. She's always willing to listen, always ready to learn. But she doesn't stop at that. She withholds the percentage of her income tax which would go to defense and sends the money instead to a peace tax fund.
There's a wonderful poem of Adrienne Rich that I am very fond of, which I think expresses, let me just read it to you. Okay? My heart is moved by all I cannot save. So much is being destroyed, I have to pass my lot with those who, age after age, perversely, with no extraordinary power, reconstitute the world. And it's the people with no extraordinary power who will reconstitute the world if it's going to be saved.
It is those ordinary people everywhere Muriel wants to reach. And an iron curtain from 7,000 kilometers doesn't stop her. Muriel is joined in Moscow by Kathleen Wallace-Deering from Vancouver. Kathleen works with Project Plowshares, a disarmament and development organization. Muriel and Kathleen's commitment to peace and their confidence in finding like-minded women here in the Soviet Union starts the Nutman stroll that ends with tea and song.
Russia, мамочки, я.
But it isn't just the unofficial encounters they seek. To better understand Soviet government policies and discuss differences of opinion, Muriel and Kathleen meet with officials at the USSR Institute for U.S. and Canada Studies.
You know, Kathleen, the Soviet Union, you said many things which are very correct, but the Soviet Union is not prepared for war. If it's doing something in the military respect, it is preparing for defense purposes. And I'm telling it not for propaganda purposes, so to say, because you mentioned that the Soviet Union had a very terrible experience with the war, and people don't want it, and nobody is preparing to fight. People are preparing to defend themselves. I mean, they are preparing to defend themselves in the case of war, because judging by what NATO and the United States officials say, they accept the idea of limited nuclear war, they accept the idea of prolonged nuclear war, and it is unacceptable for the Soviet government and for the Soviet people. But since people say such things, I mean officials say such things, then another state on the other side of the line has to be prepared for that.
But that is just the mere statement of what we hear from our own government officials, that our own government officials say within NATO that they want peace as well, but that they have to build up to counter the tremendous Soviet buildup. So I don't want to get into who's got more missiles than the other, but what I'm saying is that both sides are building up armaments on the grounds that we need them for defense. And yet, what we've seen throughout history is that whenever there are military buildups, it ends in war.
War is not an unknown to the Russian people. It is not something that happened to someone else in some other place. In the Second World War, more than 22 million Soviet people were killed, a number almost equal to the present population of Canada. A 500,000 are buried here, in Leningrad's Piskarovskoye cemetery. The Nazis held the city at siege for 3 years, not letting anyone in or out. People leave food and candy on the graves, in memory of the mothers and fathers who died of starvation so their children could live. Survived, watched as many as 4,000 of their fellow citizens die in one day. As a young pilot in World War II, Olga Lysikova flew dangerous rescue missions into the besieged Leningrad.
Вот именно Ленинградский, что в этом слове было заложено.
Every person who died here is a part of our victory. If it were not for their death, maybe we will never gain the victory over fascism.
Необыкновенно. И вот это в этой статуе
В то же время, I know I've mentioned here that there is a special word, Leningradka. It means it's a woman who is courageous, who is very brave and at the same time very modest. Это символ в этом фотоконцерте, вот это наша Родина.
Do you have any more fears now of another war? Do you feel afraid there will be another war?
Вы ощущаете сейчас угрозу миру? Как вы думаете, вообще есть такая угроза?
безусловно, обстановка очень тяжелая сложилась в мире.
The situation is very complicated now in the world.
И для советской женщины мир – это особое понятие. Это не только ее страстная мечта.
And I think for the Soviet women, it's somehow different than for other women. It's not only her dream.
А это ее цель, в которой она верит. И которой она дается все силы, чтобы отстоять.
And she does her best to fight for peace.
I don't think a lot of Canadians understand that the Soviets also fear the West. We are very caught up with our fears of the Soviets.
Well, you see, the Soviet people are not afraid of American people or Canadian people or